You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, home of Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on The Key and YouTube.com at Braves Country.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hey folks, this is Mark White with The Mark White Show, and you can tune into The Mark White Show every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here on Rock 99 WQEE The Key, the home of Southern sports and talk.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes one free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of room to roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you're ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Visit your favorite attractions, then dine out in style in dining rooms or al fresco on waterfront patios. Learn more at sunny.org.
It all starts with just one thing. When recycling, rinse out jars and cans, and avoid recycling wax paper or paper soiled with food. This will reduce recycling contamination. Find tips and more at onethingus.com. What's your one thing?
Hey sports fans, The Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League, and the big sports news of the day. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE The Key, 99.1 FM, and simulcasting on youtube.com/at Braves Country.
At Shell, we know from the time you get up to the time you wrap up,
good night,
there's a lot of meetups, eat-ups, and hurry-ups. So come to Shell and get 3 things done at once. Fill up with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus to help keep your engine running like new. Save up with the Fuel Rewards program and never pay full price for gas again. And snack up with in-store rewards to save even more at the pump. Make the most of the stop you need to make with Shell and engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline. See full terms and conditions at fuelrewards.com.
That's the sound of NyQuil Severe hard at work. NyQuil Severe is the best sleep with a cold medicine. No tossing and turning, just rest and recovery. So you're ready to take on tomorrow. For powerful relief of your worst cold and flu symptoms, try NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hey Braves fans, thank you for listening to Braves Country Baseball. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and we are here to bring you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves and bringing you spring training and 2 to 3 games a week all season long. Please like and subscribe today. Braves Country Baseball.
Winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to truegreen.com. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to truegreen.com today and get a lawn to be proud of.
Hey, sports fans, it's Rod Peterson here, host of The Rod Peterson Show, inviting you to join us daily for 2 hours of Atlanta's funnest sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show. Every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern, you'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's the Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
We live in a world now that welcomes and nurtures the screwball in all of us. Hey, it's a new decade, people. Time to get a little nutty. Treat yourself to Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, a smooth flavor that combines two of America's favorites, peanut butter and American whiskey. So no more social awkwardness. Time to embrace who you truly are. Get out there and make friends. And be sure it starts with Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. It's available nearly everywhere. Learn more at screwballwhiskey.com. Infidium Spirits. Please enjoy responsibly.
Hey, sports fans. The Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League. And the big sports news of the day. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE, The Key, 99.1 FM. And simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Armchair. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. College football bowl games continue today. Mississippi State took the field for the first time since Mike Leach's death. They're up against Illinois in the ReliaQuest Bowl. We'll keep you updated on the scores of that and USC Tulane in the Cotton Bowl, along with LSU and Purdue in the Citrus. Later on this afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern, Penn State, number 11 in the country, takes on number 8 Utah in the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl. That'll be followed up by tonight, Monday Night Football. The National Football League takes center stage, and it is a dandy. The 12-3 Bills versus the 11-4 Bengals. Buffalo, currently a 2.5-point favorite. Over-under is 50.5. That game is in Cincinnati. The winner has an inside track to the number 1 seed. National Football League is waiting till later on this evening because of the ramifications of the outcome on what time games will be played on Sunday. But the one thing we do know, or the two things that we know, are the times for the Saturday games. The Chiefs and Raiders, Kansas City 13-3 on the year. They are heading to Las Vegas, a 9.5-point favorite, over under 51.5. And the Tennessee Titans at 7-9 and in a free fall. They're a 6.5-point dog in Jacksonville as the Jaguars and Titans, one game play-in for the AFC South crown and the number 4 seed in the playoffs. That game will be 8:15 Eastern on ESPN and ABC. The AFC playoffs look like this. Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, Chargers, and Ravens have all punched their ticket, with the number 4 seed in the South and the number 7 seed of the AFC wildcard still up for grabs. And in the NFC, 1 through 6 has qualified. The 7th seed of the NFC playoffs is still to be decided. We'll have all the details and more coming up on the broadcast. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for Braves Country right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, simulcasting on youtube.com at Braves Country.
Armchair.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
Why did you get so drunk?
You got drunk. I'm just really exhausted.
What's in that cup?
Rum and Cokes.
Do you have any idea how important this is? We're trying to save the pub cup. Really? This is what you're doing? This is what you're doing?
Chief, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night. Try to take over the world.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Armchair. YouTube Live.
Radio station.
The radio station you can call your own. Do you know what listeners like about our station?
I like everything. It's always on my radio.
We never stop the music, except for now, when I talk.
You're listening to Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're here live weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key, and simulcasting on youtube.com/at Braves Country. Your first choice for Southern sports. Good afternoon. I'm Mac McGee, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. We've got another day of bowl games and a heck of a Monday night football game. We're going to get you locked in and ready to go on the new year.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man. Yeah, the armchair.
Hey, howdy, hi, and how the hell are you? Welcome to Braves Country HD on Armchair Quarterback Radio and The Key, WQEE. And I apologize if I'm not 100% together today. Moments before the show begins, I had a spillage in the studio, and it was all hands on deck trying to get it cleaned up. But I think we got it. I mean, just in time. Talking about diving headfirst into home plate. We got a lot of stuff going on. College football. We got the Cotton Bowl going on right now. USC leads Tulane by 2 touchdowns. They're just beginning the second half. Mississippi State and Illinois are tied up. I think if you have a heart and you're not an Illinois alum, you're pulling for Mike Leach's Mississippi State team today. I think you have to. But that game is tied 10-10. There's only 2.5 minutes left, and Illinois is trying to get in field goal range, and the ball's on their side of the 50. So keep you updated on that. That could be headed overtime. And by the way, the second half begins, and Tulane, first play from scrimmage, they just got about a 50-yard gain. So a lot of stuff going on in college football. And the LSU Purdue game is what we thought it would be. I talked about it last week. I thought LSU would run all over them. It is 35-0 at the half. They're about to start the third quarter. 35-0, and it's not that close. Purdue had an enormous amount of opt-outs. I thought it was funny that earlier today I heard someone complaining, saying that the SEC's record in the bowl games is so bad because of opt-outs, but no one brought up the fact that Purdue, I mean, it's like the entire state has opted out, and LSU's getting an easy win, and no shock there as they don't have near as many opt-outs. So that's what's going on in the world of football. And then We've got Tones on the way, big Penn State fan. His Nittany Lions in Utah, they're about to do battle here in a couple hours in the Rose Bowl, as they call it, the granddaddy of them all, and we'll look forward to breaking down that line right now. The last time that I checked it, Utah is a 1.5 point underdog in that game. And then you've got the big NFL game tonight. And I mean, it is a huge NFL game tonight. It's the Bengals, it's the Bills, it's Monday Night Football, it's in Cincinnati, and yet somehow the Bills are a 1 to 1.5, depending on where you're at. Some of you's up to 2.5 point favorite in that game. I find that very, very curious. I do believe that Cincinnati is going to win the game. That was my lock of the day that I do every day around noontime on Twitter, and then we bring it to you here on the show. But I just don't see. It's not that I don't think Buffalo can win the game. Is that I don't understand why Buffalo is a favorite on the road against Cincinnati. Are people still not believing that they are a good team? Because they are, look, they're the defending AFC champs. They are hitting their stride once again. And I think that place is going to be rocking. I think it's going to be one of your better football games of the entire weekend. We have got a lot to get into. I do want to touch on the college football playoffs. I know everyone's probably heard it beat to death by now, but did want to give a few takes on that. First of all, how great was it that we've got an outstanding, and I mean an outstanding, college football playoff semifinal weekend? I can't say enough about the 4 teams involved. I get it, Ohio State and Michigan lost, and if you're a Big Ten fan, maybe you're disappointed. But they put on a show. And I get that Michigan was favored, but look, the books aren't always right. They're just hedging their bets, right? And TCU put on a heck of a game. But I do believe that Michigan got hosed a couple of times. There should have been a targeting call at the end of the game. Before that, let's back all the way up into the second quarter. When TCU throws the interception at midfield, they spot the ball at the TCU 49. It should have been on the Michigan. I'm sorry, they spot the ball on the Michigan 49. It should have been on the TCU 49. How does the guy that spots that, I get that they've got a lot of umpires out there that are just old and blind, but how in the world does he miss it by 2 yards? And then how is it that nobody sees it? And the play-by-play guy and the color commentator, they bring it up, but they don't bring it up till much later when it was pointed out to them. I saw it live, and I was hopping up and down. I was like, what in the heck is going on here? I thought I'd missed something. I could not. And then, of course, instantly, the very next play. So I don't want to hear that it didn't make a difference. It made a difference. The very next play, Michigan throws a bomb. The ball gets caught. For what looked like to everybody else that's ever watched football in their life, it looked like a touchdown. They called it a non-touchdown. The very next play, TCU recovers a fumble. And I get the contrarian's going to say, well, you don't fumble the ball on the goal line. Okay. I get it. But humans do make mistakes, and there are fumbles. That's why it's sports, and it's not. That's why analytics rarely works as much as people thinks that it does. But the point is, if the ball is 2 yards further up, it's a touchdown. Or if they just call it a touchdown like it was a touchdown, it was a touchdown. And so they got hosed. I'm not going to say that that's the reason why they lost the game. It's a factor, though. It is a real factor because at one point, TCU had a massive lead, and a lot of it was from really poor officiating. I was going back and forth with a Michigan friend of mine, and I wasn't necessarily pulling for Michigan, but I wasn't pulling against them. So I think I have a pretty clear eye to this. And I felt like Michigan was getting the short end of the stick the entire game. Sometimes when you get bad officiating, it's on both sides. It felt like. And if you think it's because I took Michigan behind the points, I didn't. I took TCU. I won my bet. I just felt dirty about it. Conversely, over in the Georgia-Ohio State game, same exact scenario. Ohio State got hosed on a couple of plays. Now, I know to the letter of the law, if you slow it down, that targeting on Harrison Jr. was not technically a targeting, right? And I get that. And even with that being said, if you look at it, the way they have called it for years, that's a targeting. It should have been a targeting. If nothing else, it should have been what they have been calling unnecessary roughness. So right, so they don't take the targeting, they don't kick the kid out of the game. And I'm not saying I like those calls. I'm just saying that if you're going to call it one way or the other, you need to be consistent. And they're not consistent. Not in any stretch of the imagination was that consistent. So the one thing that was consistent this weekend was that the refereeing was absolutely abysmal. And I mean abysmal. But I believe that we got the best product we have ever seen, and I hope it continues for the national championship game. Once again, if you think it was because I took Ohio State in some scenario, no. I had Georgia on the money line. It was a part of a teaser. So I was ecstatic that Georgia won, but it felt dirty. So Georgia wins. They get, I'll say it once, I'll say it a million times. I hate field goal kicking. I don't hate the kickers themselves. I hate the fact that the game comes down to that. But I get it. It's a part of the game. But at no point did I watch that, either one of those games, and think the best team won. Ohio State looked like the best team, and I was pulling for Georgia. I mean, we're talking about a quarter in the game. I'm going, I might have made a big mistake. That Georgia secondary is vulnerable. And it'll be interesting to see what Dugan can do. And then Michael throws the question, is the Big Ten overrated? Absolutely not. How are they overrated? They had two teams in the semifinals that almost won the game, that should have won the game if they didn't get screwed. No, the Big Ten showed that they are legitimate. And you can't knock Michigan for losing to TCU because everybody has it wrong and thinks that TCU is some overrated team. TCU deserved to be in the playoffs, and they showed that. Thankfully, Michigan didn't run them off the field, and we would have had to hear how Nick Saban should have been in the playoffs, because then that's what you would have got next year. And I'm so sick of that argument in college football that the best team should be in, as opposed to the team that deserves it. You can't go by the best. If you're going to do that, then every single year you can go ahead and predetermine the four teams you're going to put in the playoffs based on the high school recruiting ranking. The way you play on the field has got to come into play. By the way, Mississippi State, Illinois, the Cowbells, the Fighting Cowbells are driving, and Tulane did score. So they're within 7, but USC's been going up and down on them like a hot knife through butter. I don't remember what the over on that was, but it wasn't big enough. And the Mississippi State-Illinois game, I doubt it gets to the over. It was in the low 40s, and it's 10-10 with about a minute left. Mississippi State's on Illinois' side of the field. But as we all know in college football, a field goal is not a gimme in any stretch of the imagination. By the way, for Florida State fans out there, if you've seen the big news, FSU got a huge commitment today in one of the elite field goal kickers in the country. So that was kind of a shocker. I can't imagine any field goal kicker would want to put himself through that. But I've said a long time ago, Florida State should have eliminated. They should have only had place kickers for kickoffs and go for 2 every time and just see where it lands. But the kid's name is Jake Weinberg, and it's a huge get for Mike Norvell. Bryce Young and Will Anderson, Alabama. They have both declared for the draft, and everyone expected that. I don't think anybody was shocked by that. Plus, Alabama running back Jahmyr Gibbs has declared for the draft. There will be more to come as the days unfold. They have until right after the national championship game to declare themselves for the draft for everybody. So what's going on now with a lot of these kids is they are getting they're getting breakdowns and assessments from scouts telling them, hey, what we've got is you're positioned here. I'm just going to call him quarterback A, right? Quarterback A says, hey, I just found out that I'm being projected. Let's be reasonable. We'll say 5th or 6th round. And quarterback A is not long in the tooth, right? He's a younger kid. And quarterback A says, I'm coming back. Because this is a loaded quarterback class. That's why I specifically picked the quarterback. For instance, Will Smith of Mississippi State, who's had a pretty good year, he has declared that he is coming back, and he should come back because this is a loaded quarterback class, and you'll be lucky to get drafted because so many. Now, look, there's going to be a lot of teams out there drafting quarterbacks because quarterbacks are the name of the game, and if you can find one, if you can find a Brock Purdy in the trash heap, then let's go. But honestly, if you're not being projected with the NIL money that you can come back now, it makes a lot more sense for these kids to stay. It's why Jordan Travis is staying at Florida State. Will Rogers, I'm going to call him Will Smith. Will Rogers is staying at Mississippi State. By the way, Southern Cal just scored a touchdown. They're going to have to review that because it looked like the kid may have been out of bounds. But Mississippi State's lining up for what should be a gimme field goal. This one's a chip shot. This one's from the 1 yard line, but and stay tuned on that as far as field goals are concerned. But Mississippi State looking to win the ReliaQuest Bowl. And someone brought something up on social media that I thought was a very he's definitely out of bounds. I don't know what they're doing calling him in. That will probably get called back. This kid is... Well, his foot hit the pylon. The 1 foot hit the pylon, so they might call him down, although his foot wasn't down. It hit the pylon in the air. We'll see how they review it. I would call him out of bounds. We'll see what happens there. Mississippi State just took a knee, and they're setting up for a chip shot field goal. And then Illinois barely bumps into I think I said Will Smith again, Will Rogers. Illinois barely bumps into the quarterback, and you talk about a LeBron James type flop. He just flopped to the ground to try to get a flag, and the defensive lineman just looked at him and kind of shook his hand off like, man, get out of here with that. I mean, he barely touched him. The funny thing is there's a couple Mississippi State linemen who are getting a shoving match. They need to chill out because that would be undoubtedly stupid to get yourself a penalty at the end and make the field goal that much further. Mississippi State will be lining up for a field goal, and we'll let you know what happened there. It should be a chip shot field goal for a Mississippi State Bulldog win. And I'm sorry, but if you're an Illinois fan, I do apologize, but I'm pulling for Mississippi State. And I'm not an SEC fan. I'm not an anti-Big Ten fan. It's because, come on, it's Mike Leach. And I feel like they missed a big opportunity. It was in Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida, home of the Buccaneers. They have the ReliaQuest in the middle of the field, their little logo. I think they missed a big opportunity to leave the Buccaneer because that's essentially what the Mike Leach logo looks like on the helmet, and do something at midfield for him. Even if you put a big ML around it, they miss huge opportunity there. But we will be right back when we come back. The week 18, the NFL schedule. What is going on with this? We'll be back in a flash and break down what's going down in all the playoff scenarios, because I know it's a lot to unpack. It is very, very confusing. We will be back in a flash. Keep it locked in here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, and Braves Country HD wherever you stream.
Shenyang, a performance that truly matters to every one of us, is coming to the Columbus River Center for the Performing Arts, January 17th, one night only. Shenyang brings 5,000 years of civilization live on stage through choreographed dance, music combining Western and Chinese instruments in an animated backdrop. Come and see it at least once in your lifetime. Tickets at shenyang.com/GA.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes one free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Or you think you're tough picking on an old man? Maybe you'd like to try taking on somebody your own age.
You got any kids?
Welcome back. Mac McGee with the Armchair Quarterbacks. Tones is going to be with us here in just a moment. Waiting for him to roll up, and he's going to get us set for the Rose Bowl. There's his Buccaneers just punched their ticket to the playoffs. And I don't know why I didn't see that coming. I should have. So there were some tickets out there that you could have cashed, and they're odd ones, and you kind of have to go deep into the prop bets. It didn't even cross my mind this week. But one of the prop bets that hit, I think it was a plus 600. It might have even been higher than that. But regardless, it was Tom Brady to have the most passing yards for this week. And you would actually, it had to be higher than that. I think it was closer to, I think it was 850 is what I heard this morning. I didn't see it. I heard him talking about it. And looking back on it, it makes so much sense because, by the way, Mississippi State did hit that field goal, and now they've got a Stanford band on the field situation going on where they're trying to find a way in. Mississippi State just intercepted it. I don't believe that looked like a forward pass. I don't believe that's a lateral. They're going to call that a touchdown, and your final score will be 19-10, but we'll see if that actually holds up. I don't believe that'll actually hold up. If it does, I guarantee you somebody's prop got busted somewhere on a goofy. Oh, and there is a melee on the field. Illinois and Mississippi State. You know, this is the second time in the last 2 or 3 years that Mississippi State has gotten into it in a bowl game at the end. And they need to calm it down because this is an embarrassment for the memory of Mike Leach. They do not want this to be. I get it. If you get antagonized, I get that. But the game is over. They've got the scores 19-10. We'll see if that touchdown actually, it looked like it was a forward lateral, but we'll see what happens there. But Mississippi State, regardless, will win the game. And that is the end of that Mississippi State Illinois game, the ReliaQuest Bowl. I think it used to be called the Outback Bowl. And I saw someone refer to it as the Outback Bowl, but it's ReliaQuest now. It's really weird when you get a name brand on a bowl game that has been there for years, and then they expect you to change it in your head, and you just can't. And the initial investment of Outback Steakhouse pays through, because I saw 2 or 3 pretty prominent people on Twitter in the sports world, in the sports gambling world, refer to it as the Outback Bowl. And now you got me talking about it, so there you go. We'll see if that touchdown actually holds. By the way, that touchdown with USC did not hold. His leg was out of bounds. And we'll have to see what's going on with that as they went to commercial. And I was paying attention to the Mississippi State-Illinois game. I'll get an update for Tulane's got the ball, and they're down 7. So what do you know? Tulane was getting 2.5. I think it was right at 3 at kickoff. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes down. I've got Tulane on a tease. I'd like Tulane to win the game, but I didn't feel comfortable enough considering what their recruiting system's like and what Southern Cal's recruiting system's like, and the fact that Caleb Williams was going to play. They didn't have a lot of opt-outs. I just felt like Tulane was going to be more invested in it emotionally after USC lost the Pac-12 championship, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they've got the better players. So I hedged my bet, so to speak. Let's get into the NFL. What a wild and topsy-turvy year this has been. And to unpack what is going on in the playoffs picture is really insane. I don't recall the NFL waiting until what's essentially going to be Tuesday morning, late Monday night, Tuesday morning, to let you know when teams are playing. Now, the Titans and the Jaguars, that has been already established. Tennessee and Jacksonville for the AFC crown will be Saturday night, and that's going to be the ESPN, ABC. They're even going to have it on their apps. I bet you they're going to have all kinds of war room, different cams and all that kind of stuff. If you saw that during the national championship playoffs this weekend, I really like a couple of them. I really do. I liked I think it was called Game Center or something like that, where they had 2 different cameras on the same screen and you could see the normal broadcast. You heard the normal broadcast, but you also got another angle. The Sky Cam wasn't bad, but if you watched it, what was maddening, and this happened in the Orange Bowl with Tennessee's big win against Clemson, go Rocky Top, and the national championship semifinals. Now, I went to a watching party for the Bulldogs' big win against Ohio State, but the first game, I was at the house. I had several TVs set up, and both games that they had this going on, and I'm sure they'll have it going on for the national championship game, and they might even have it going on for the Rose Bowl. The Sky Cam's like 10 seconds behind the regular feed. I could even live with it if it was a few seconds behind, because you almost get a chance to see a replay from a different angle, right? But 10 seconds in the world of that we live in now of college football with the no huddles and the hurry up offenses, it feels like an eternity. So they need to tighten that up, but I do like it, and I'm sure we're going to get this. But for those of us who are in fantasy football world, by the way, there's a lot of things in play here. I see Michael's comment about needing Joe Burrow to score 60. I think that's the league that I'm in. I know I'm going up against Joe Burrow, and I need him to not, as long as he doesn't go bananas. Yeah, that's it. As long as he scores less than 58 points, I'll be okay. But our scoring system in these leagues, 58 points is gettable, especially if they get in a shootout. So I'll be on pins and needles the first half. The other leagues that I'm in, one of them, I just had a bit when Derrick Henry opts out, you have a hard time moving forward. And actually, the league that I'm going to win, Derrick Henry opted out. I did some streaming, and they worked out for me. I streamed Cam Akers. I streamed Tyler Algier of the Atlanta Falcons. If you missed that, he now has 1,000 yards from scrimmage. So good little draft pick for the Falcons that they can build on going into next year. And I streamed Jerick McKinnon. And my receivers were an absolute bust. My quarterback in that league originally was Tom Brady. And I dropped him, and then he went bananas this weekend. But who expected that? I got sidetracked talking about this. After you realize what was going on in Carolina, it makes sense that Tom Brady and the Bucs scored so many points and put so. And Mike Evans went absolutely off this weekend. So if you're still alive in a league and you had Mike Evans, you probably won. Because the Panthers were out there signing Josh Norman off the trash heap. Evidently, Josh Norman was running his coffee shop in the Atlanta area and came in to play defensive back, and they roasted him all game long. Well, of course, he's not. I know he stays in shape, and he's much better shape than most human beings are. But you go from percolating coffee in the morning to, hey, why don't you try to shut down one of these elite receivers for the Buccaneers? It's just going to be a nightmare. So we've got things going on in the NFL that if you look at how it's going to play out, Titans and Jaguars are going to be the Sunday night game. Or, excuse me, the Saturday night game of the week. The Chiefs and Raiders are going to be the 4:30 kickoff. Why is that game important? A lot of it will have to do with what goes on tonight. If Cincinnati beats the Buffalo Bills, that game will be for the first round bye and the number one overall seed in the AFC. If Buffalo wins, Kansas City has to win that game to keep pressure on Buffalo. So that's very interesting, and it throws a lot of things in play. Now, the problem is the rest of this, I don't ever remember them waiting this long, but the rest of the season, the rest of week 18, season-ending week, nobody knows what time these games are kicking off. I can give you an educated guess on who I think is going to end up playing when, but it really is going to come down to who wins tonight. If the Bengals win tonight, and I do think that they've got a very strong chance to win tonight. If the Bengals win tonight, they will have wrapped up the AFC North division. Now, they will still have in play a chance for the wild card, for the number one bye. But they'll need some help, and it's a tangled mess. And if Cincinnati does win, then the Ravens have nothing left to do because they've already punched their ticket, and they'll be resting everybody. So that will not be your Sunday night game of the week. If the Buffalo Bills win, that Ravens-Bengals matchup will be for the AFC North. And I think it will be your Sunday night game of the week. So go off of the premise. We'll do it the first way. The Bengals lose, the Bills win, and Bengals-Ravens is your Sunday night game of the week. And your 4:00 game, I think, would probably be involved with Green Bay, Detroit. You're going to get the Seahawks and the Rams because the Seahawks. So Green Bay, Detroit, Green Bay wins, they're in. At the same token, Seattle has to lose. And if they lose, then Detroit wins and they're in. If you're following me on that. So what you have right now in the NFC that is actually posted, and we'll share the standings here on the next segment, But what we've got going on here is, as of right now in the playoffs pictures in the NFC, 6 of the 7 have been decided. Seahawks, Lions, Packers are the only ones that can get in the playoffs. And right now, if you go to like ESPN or any of these websites, you'll see Seattle sitting at the 7th seed. Detroit, the 8th. Green Bay, the 8th. But the reason why is because if Green Bay wins and Seattle wins, they'll both be tied, and Green Bay wins the tiebreaker based on win percentage head-to-head. Now, you don't have to understand all that, but what you need to understand is that if Seattle wins and Green Bay wins, Green Bay goes. If Seattle loses and Green Bay wins, Green Bay goes. If Seattle loses and Detroit wins, the Detroit Lions go to the playoffs. So the Lions need some help. In the AFC, you still have the Jaguars and the Titans fighting out to see who's going to win the division. In the AFC, you've also got the Patriots, the Dolphins, the Steelers, all fighting it out for the wild card. There is a scenario where the Tennessee Titans beat the Jaguars and the Jaguars still get into the playoffs. And the way that would happen is Tennessee would own the tiebreaker on Jacksonville for the division. So we'll put that aside. So Tennessee gets the 4 seed. Jacksonville gets in if they end up in what at that point would be a 4-way tie with the Steelers, Dolphins, and Patriots. They all 4 have to lose this weekend. And Jacksonville gets in on a 4-way tie off of tiebreakers. If Tennessee loses to Jacksonville, Jacksonville's in, Tennessee's out, doesn't matter what anything else happens. And then New England controls their own destiny. Miami and Pittsburgh would need help. Pittsburgh needs Miami and New England to lose. Miami needs New England to lose. And Pittsburgh needs just about everybody to lose, and they've got to hold, serve, and beat the Browns. So I believe most of those games that I just referred to are going to be in your late window because they want the drama to build. Your earlier games are going to be the who gives a crap game, and they might throw 1 or 2 just to keep your eyeballs appealed to us. Like Philly needs to win the division, but it's against a Giants team that's not going to put anyone on the field. If you go on the other option of what we were just talking about in the AFC, if the Cincinnati Bengals win and the Buffalo Bills lose, the Buffalo Bills would then be playing Sunday, with essentially not a lot on the line in Kansas City. If Kansas City were to win Saturday, then the Bengals would have nothing on the line. So that's why they're waiting till tonight for everything to play out. All right, we're going to be back in a flash when we come back. Tones is going to join us. We're going to unpack all of this and get into a lot more football talk. We'll be back in a flash here on WQEE The Key, 99.1 FM, and Braves Country HD, wherever you may stream.
Here's good news. There's still a need for hundreds of thousands of cybersecurity professionals in the U.S. right now. And My Computer Career is training people to help meet the demand. No IT experience? No problem. Take the free career evaluation today. Start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. Grants covering up to 53% of the cost are available to those who qualify. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of room to roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you're ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Visit your favorite attractions, then dine out in style in dining rooms or al fresco on waterfront patios. Learn more at sunny.org.
Shenyang, a performance that truly matters to every one of us, is coming to the Columbus River Center for the Performing Arts, January 17th, one night only. Shenyang brings 5,000 years of civilization live on stage through choreographed dance, music combining Western and Chinese instruments in an animated backdrop. Come and see it at least once in your lifetime. Tickets at shenyang.com/GA.
Whenever I bring home Entenmann's Little Bites muffins. Little Bites? That's right, sweetie. Can you just give Mommy a minute? I love Little Bites. I know you do, but we're doing a commercial right now, okay? Got it. As I was saying, whenever I bring home you know what, you know who gets pretty excited. And so do I. Little Bites muffins are made with real ingredients, no high fructose corn syrup, and are baked moist and delicious. I love Little Bites. Here you go. Yes.
Entenmann's Little Bites muffins. The perfect portion of happiness.
I don't
watch TV.
You don't watch TV? You didn't hear about it?
I'm trying not to cuss. I don't care. I just want to play football and go home. But you holding me right now. I just want to go home and play Pokemon.
Go home and play Pokemon?
Yeah, Pokemon.
Yeah.
Don't do that. You can't disrespect Pokemon like that. Pokemon. You sound like
I got my
old.
nephew some Pokemon cards. They're kind of a big deal.
I don't know what cards you got on. They must have sucked because you calling them Pokemon. But it's fine. Never mind. I'm off topic. Come on. My bad.
Well, the season's finally here, and the players hit the field. And every man feels like a boy, and every wife could kill. Because he's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks.
If you're wondering what that clip was, if you're running around listening to the Key 99.1 FM, that is a Jamal Williams. After the Detroit game, he was being asked about, I don't even remember the question now, because it's really not the entertaining part of the clip. He's being asked a question if he saw something, I think it had to do with Aaron Rodgers' response about the Lions, et cetera, and he basically says, I don't watch TV, I just want to go home and play Pokemon. And that's where the thing goes back and forth with him and the reporter. I guess you can't, it's hard to hear, but it sounded like he says Pokemon, and then that's where Williams stops him and goes, whoa, man. It's Pokemon. Don't disrespect him that way. So anyways, welcome on to the show is Mr. Tones. Your Buccaneers punched their ticket into the NFC playoffs. Congratulations.
Hey, a ticket's a ticket, right? It was a hard-fought ticket, although it was one of those historically bad divisions. We're happy to take it. Happy to be here. Happy, healthy New Year to all. Hope it was a good one to you and yours, McGee, and hope it's a good one to all the listeners out there. And well, as we got a Rose Bowl on our hands, and now I got playoff Bucs football. What more can I ask for? Just a great day to be talking sports with Mac McGee.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to, first of all, and I'm not pumping sunshine up you just because you're a Penn State fan. I'm looking forward to this game. I think this is going to be one of the great bowl games. I'll be very disappointed if this isn't, not necessarily saying a shootout, but a really close game, a hard-fought game. I'm thinking the final is going to be somewhere in the mid to late 20s, maybe early 30s if it gets really crazy. And I expect both quarterbacks to play well. I expect both offenses to move it. And Utah has had a bad taste in their mouth about not winning the Rose Bowl last year. They've talked about it, so I think they'll be focused, and I believe Penn State will be focused. I think this is just a great matchup.
I agree with you, and Utah's been a really fun team this year, really outside the upset loss to Florida week 1 of the football season, when we know in college is really a coin flip anyhow when it comes to those big teams. That's why a lot of them play, those smaller schools to begin the year as a warm-up. Utah's been one of the better countries one of the better teams in the country, and Penn State, outside their 2 losses to 2 playoff teams, have been pretty much flawless. So this matchup's a lot of fun, and I love the Rose Bowl year in and year out, so I'm really excited for it.
And before we get to that, I just want to get your take on it, your reaction. I'm sure you watched the college football semifinals this weekend.
Correct.
How incredible was that? I don't care who you were a fan of, who you were pulling for. How incredible were those games?
I loved them, and this has been the best college football playoffs by far, and to me it's been one of the better bowl seasons in general, in part because of how great those two games were. And whether you're a fan of TCU, obviously you'd rather be a fan of them than Michigan at this point in time, but any of those schools, and then Georgia and Ohio State, your teams put on historic instant classics. Not one game, but two games, more so the second game, but still the first game is pretty dang good too. A lot of good players playing in that game, a lot of good Heisman faithfuls at year's end, such as Max Duggan, Ohio State's quarterback Stroud, etc. A lot of good talent on that field, and they put on shows not once but twice. In a couple of years, or next year, whenever it is, when we get expansion, I think this proved why we need that, right? The first couple of years of the college football playoffs, it's like, do we really need expansion? These games are kind of blowouts. This year proved more than ever, well, expansion might be a great thing. We got two great games with these four teams. Imagine what we're going to get when the playoffs do expand. I can't wait, and this weekend's been awesome.
I have crapped on that theory from day one when people say, do not expand the playoffs because these games are blowouts.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said it from day one when people would tell me, like, you're trying to tell me that more football is a bad thing.
You have said that since day one, I remember.
You're trying to tell me more football is a bad thing. Get out of here. Down, get. We can't be friends.
You don't want more football, adios.
I'm not a big soccer fan. I don't think it's a bad idea that they're expanding the World Cup field. Let more teams in. Let's have some fun.
More sports, more fun. You thought at least after COVID, people would have learned that at least when we went on.
More fun, and the bottom line, it brings in more money.
Correct, all around.
And you're going to bring in more money to more economies all around the country because they're all going to be hosting games. So you're going to create jobs. These stick in the mud people who think that it's a bad thing to. I get it. I don't want a 64 team playoff in college football. I get that part. It's too tough of a sport. You can't have that many rounds. And I do wonder if 12 is too many. I would have liked 7 or 8. I've said for years 7's the perfect number, but you can't put the ketchup back in the bottle. It's not going to happen. So let's go, man. I'm excited for what's going to happen next year, but more importantly, what's going to happen going forward after that.
Absolutely, same here. And this year would have been a great year to have more playoff teams, but hey, we still got a treat with the 2 games we got and the 4 teams that were in it. So very appreciative of that on New Year's.
Absolutely. I felt like the officiating was horrendous in both. I'm kind of brought that up at the beginning of the show. I don't want to blame that, but I will say that Ohio State got hosed and Michigan definitely got railed. I mean,
that call
ridiculous. All game long. Michigan on the touchdown that should have been a touchdown, right?
Correct.
But right before that, the ball was misspotted by 2 to 3 yards.
Correct again.
So no matter how you look at it, that possession should have been 6 to 7 points for Michigan, and they lost by 6. Right.
There was only, I remember a handful of bad ones against Michigan. Only real bad one I remember against TCU was a roughing the passer. But other than that, I think Michigan heavily got more of a screw job than TCU.
Yeah, and I get it that both sides are going to get bad calls, but the blatant ones, the ones that I think changed the game, was definitely on the side of Michigan and definitely on the side of Ohio State.
Correct.
Because the ones for Ohio State, and I never would have thought it, Ohio State was the better team on the field. And I never would have thought that. I said all last week, I thought Georgia was going to wear them down, was going to beat them by 2, maybe even 3 scores. That never happened.
No.
The Achilles heel, which is the Georgia secondary and the lack of a pass rush, really shined. And I'm telling you right now, that over under in the Georgia TCU game, you better jump on it now. That thing's going to climb.
What's it at right now?
62.
Ooh, yeah, that thing's going to climb.
There's no way that is going to hit.
Yeah. I think so as well. I mean, I really thought like you. I thought that Georgia-Ohio State game, not that it would be, I thought it'd be a 2 to 3 possession game at just about every point in time because Georgia's been that good this year, not to discredit Ohio State, but they were right in that. Yeah, I think 62 is a number you want to get it at right now.
Yeah, I don't see any. And plus, TCU's getting 13. Oof. Not with those defenses of my giving up 13.
I like TCU with the 13.
I love my favorite play on it is the tease, which would be give me Tulane just scored, by the way. It's 35-30. They tried to go for 2 and it got picked off. So it's 35-30 and Purdue's finally on the board. They're down 49-7 with their skeleton crew out there trying to play. I got like 3 texts this morning from Purdue asking if I could play offensive guard.
Did you hear that they actually removed that game too off some sports books in New Jersey because Drew Brees is helping coach Purdue today and he's affiliated.
Brees, and then the incumbent coach that's coming in from where's he coming from? Illinois, I believe.
Yeah, correct.
It was just like it's just a show. They just did it to basically it's a clown show. 16.5 is what I got it at. Because by the time that I realized how many guys were opting out, it already climbed. So many. I'm surprised that more books didn't take it off the board.
Yeah.
I checked it shortly before kickoff and it was still on the board on the book that I used. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, it was still on the board and I use as well. They never removed it off. Sadly, I'm in a bowl pick'em and I, picked long ago too before all the opt-outs, and once it locks, it's locked. So I had Purdue in that. So I was pulling for him today, not expecting a win, but it's been an ugly one.
I can imagine. Tulane just tried an onside kick and it did not work.
That's been a fun game, USC Tulane, and that spread jumped like crazy. It opened at 14.5, and then today it was down to 1.5. And I thought maybe Caleb Williams or something opted out at first, but he's out there playing.
No, it's been pretty solid the last 2 or 3 weeks. It's been like 2.5.
I literally did this my bowl pick'em sheet. I did it like right when they announced the bowl games.
Gotcha. Shortly after that, I think USC had a couple of opt-outs, but Caleb Williams is coming back next year, so he's not eligible for the draft. So
yeah,
that's
you're right.
why. But Tulane, from my understanding, they don't have any opt-outs, so that's why the line was so drastic. I took Tulane on a farce on a teaser, so I'm getting I think 8 or 8.5, something like that. But I just kind of felt like both defenses were going to be a sieve, and that would give me a puncher's chance. I didn't like USC's ability to focus on Tulane after losing a chance at the college football playoffs.
Yeah, I could see both cuts at the onion there. I agreed. I was really on the fence at this one. Ultimately, I leaned USC only because I'm like, even though it's not right, I did the bigger program, littler program theory. So hoping that it tests today. But really, it's been an enjoyable game between these two.
So imagine if Utah doesn't upset USC, they're in the game versus Georgia. Is that game even close?
Yeah, I don't think so at this point. I mean, nothing against Tulane. They've been great all year. And I know, this bowl game, like you said, their edge might not be their USC, et cetera. But if Tulane is hanging with USC, could you imagine what Georgia would have been able to do to them?
Yeah, I feel like Georgia would have been able to control the line. But one thing I will say, Caleb Williams would have put some points up.
He would have. He's electric.
It would have been nearly as competitive. The receiving core at Ohio State continues to be the best in the country. they pump out new receivers every single year. And once when you think the best you've seen has come through, like a Garrett Wilson, here comes Marvin Harris Jr.
Or remember when everyone, McLaurin, everyone thought he was going to be the best, and then it's like, just they keep pumping him out. I mean, and I think that's a big reason too, McGee, why we're seeing more successful Ohio State I mean, they've always had good college quarterbacks, perhaps, but now perhaps they'll even develop a little bit more and be drafted higher. You used to see the mid to late round Ohio State guys, but now you've seen Justin Fields early. Now you're going to get Stroud early. Half that reason is, well, they have everyone in the world to throw to.
I would love to see Tulane not just cover the spread. I would love to see Tulane get the upset because you know how big that would be for their program.
I'd love that too. That'd be awesome.
I'm a little disappointed they didn't wear the blue helmets today.
Yeah.
The powder blue helmets with the green wave on them, they're kind of cartoony looking. It took me a while, but they grew on me, and now I'm disappointed when I don't see them.
And I agree with those. Those are beautiful, and I just can't get behind USC. I mean, they do have some great teams here and there, and they do have some great players come through that program, but I've just never been a USC guy. Tulane is a much more exciting school to root for, and, who knows? This might be the best it ever gets for their college football program until way down the road. So happy to see him compete in here.
Yeah, I've never been pro USC because look, when you play out there on the left coast and you play a much easier schedule than most, you have a distinct advantage. And then you consider the fact the money that USC has and they sit in Los Angeles in the NIL deals. They were the first ones that I mentioned. I said, you're going to see USC extend to the top quickly when the NIL comes around.
Mm-hmm.
I got laughed at and scoffed at on the air by one of our contributors, and he has since then paddled that back. But I was like, man, I'm telling you, USC is going to be a destination because you're going to get NIL Hollywood money. So they're going to have a unique advantage. It's kind of like the advantage that Notre Dame used to have that I don't think they have anymore. But Notre Dame years ago, they had their own television contract. And every kid that was a Catholic wanted to play for Notre Dame.
Right.
That's no longer really the case. There was also the distinction that back then there weren't a lot of games on TV, but what was on was Notre Dame. And now every game gets broadcasted.
Yeah, now you got all 80 ESPN channels, 3 CBS channels, 3 Fox channels, every game.
The 90s, the mid to late 90s is what killed Notre Dame. When all the games started coming, and I'm talking about this is even before the SEC and ACC network. When ESPN2 and ESPNU came about, et cetera, and then, of course, Disney put ABC and ESPN together, and then CBS got into play with the SEC. What that did in the entire thing was it put all the other divisions, all the other conferences on the map.
Mm-hmm.
And you no longer had to be at Notre Dame to get on national television. Now, Mississippi State has a good season with Dak Prescott, and they were on national television.
Yeah. Then they get Coach Leach and help him solidify their program, and they got a nice win over U of I today, although a low-scoring affair, a little bit boring if you're an offensive guy. Kudos to Mississippi State for winning for the late, great Mike Leach.
We're hitting the top of the hour. We'll be back in a flash. When we come back, we're going to be talking more football. You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Shenyang, a performance that truly matters to every one of us, is coming to the Columbus River Center for the Performing Arts, January 17th, one night only. Shenyang brings 5,000 years of civilization live on stage through choreographed dance, music combining Western and Chinese instruments in an animated backdrop. Come and see it at least once in your lifetime. Tickets at shenyang.com/GA.
Hey, sports fans. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
It's time to live, laugh, and create memories again with MSC Cruises. Join us on some of the world's most modern and innovative ships. Discover again at our new private island, Ocean Key MSC Marine Reserve, named Best New Cruise Destination. Cruise the Caribbean and Bahamas from Miami or Port Canaveral. Book now with free balcony upgrades and flexible booking changes. Call your travel advisor or visit msccruises.com. Restrictions apply. MSC Cruises, a world of discovery.
Hey folks, this is Mark White with The Mark White Show, and you can tune into The Mark White Show every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here on Rock 99 WQEE The Key, the home of Southern sports and talk.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and old lang syne?
Welcome back. Happy New Year's to everybody. We're riding shotgun with you here. 99.1 FM. Tones and McGee taking you to the top of the 5 o'clock hour, where we will have Farrell Coast to Coast and Sports Map Radio overnight. And then tomorrow morning, get your morning started with Ryan O Radio Penitentiary. Radio 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. It's Ryan O'Neill. And Rod Peterson's show is from 12 to 2. And then you get Sports Beat 2 to 3. And then we'll be right back at it here 3 to 5 weekdays. Braves Country HD, wherever you stream, and 99.1 FM. Southern Cal just scored a touchdown. It's 41-30. They'll be kicking the extra point to go up by 2 touchdowns. It's one of the reasons why I thought that was a little early for Tulane to go for 2-point conversion, but I just, now that it's in the fourth quarter, now they have an 11-point lead, it's going to be very difficult for Tulane to get what is essentially going to have to be a stop. I've seen Southern Cal has just gone through them like a sieve. And those big boys, even in the passing game, are showing the difference.
Yeah, I agree. I would have waited to go for the 2 just in case. And, you see teams going for it earlier and earlier, and it's breaking old football traditions. That's one I don't agree with necessarily. And, it might have backfired there.
Yeah, they, that. Thanks, Mike. I see the Happy New Year's and the Mississippi State. Mississippi State, by the way, did win today, and it's a good ending for the Mike Leach era.
I got him on.
And they got good news. They're getting their quarterback back. A couple other guys are coming back. And it's funny that they mentioned that they didn't make big announcements on social media like most guys do nowadays. And that's got to be kind of refreshing for the fan base, right? It's got to be. So we got a big game with Bills and Bengals tonight. It's so weird having these bowl games, especially the Rose Bowl and the Cotton Bowl being played. And oh, by the way, Monday Night Football is going to go on tonight as well. And if it wasn't
you want to throw that in.
I wouldn't worry about watching it. I'd probably watch the Rose Bowl and then head to bed. But that's going to be a great ball game.
Yeah, what a day. Between Thursday through today with all the bowl games and NFL games, it's been really such a treat. And that's what I love about the holiday season. NFL, college football, they load it up every day. You got nonstop games coming at you.
Yeah, I think you're going to get a game tonight where, let's pull up that line real quick and see where it's hanging around at right now. I haven't looked at it since this morning. It is still 2.5. That creeped up, by the way. It was 1 this morning, and I saw it hit 2.5 around noon. So there's some money came in on Buffalo. And the over is 50.5. And that one's interesting to me because it almost feels like it might be too high because I think these two defenses are going to play respectable games.
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen what if you get a chance, Tones, if you could look up the weather for tonight.
Yep.
And since because that could be a very big deal as well. Looking at the fact that, these
tonight in Cincinnati, it is going to be 50 degrees or so, and it's going to be chance of showers as well tonight. So around kickoff, it's going to be 57 degrees, up to 11 mile per hour winds.
All right, so 57 degrees, and what is the winds?
Up to 11 miles an hour.
That's not bad. I mean, that's kind of what you want, right? So I worry about winds if they get north of 20. Now, sometimes it's misleading. You'll see a fairly decent wind, but then you'll come to find out that it's not much wind around the stadium. But 11 miles an hour, that's, I mean, you got to expect that to be just normal practice.
Yeah, and precipitation, it looks like it shouldn't be a problem until 11 or midnight, until that gets bumped up. So the game should steer clear of that nearly as well. So it's looking like a decent one all around for game time. Between the wind and the rain, it looks like the bad stuff is coming around midnight, 1 a.m.
So with all that being said, I still think, first of all, I believe that Cincinnati's defense has played very well over the last month and a half. Buffalo has a solid defense. It was much better before the Von Miller injury. I get that. But at the same token, I think their defense will put enough pressure. And I also don't believe either team is going out there to just kind of roast it up and down the field. Because if you're the head coach of either team, don't you kind of want to hold on to the ball as much as possible so that Josh Allen or Joe Burrow doesn't get the ball back in their hand?
Mm-hmm.
So that to me is going to be a very, very interesting game tonight. And it's going to be one of these things where it could be the team that has the ball last wins. But I definitely believe that if you win the turnover battle, you're going to have a very good chance of winning this game.
Yeah, if you win the turnover battle, it's almost hard not to win this one with how high-powered these offenses are, both electric enough where if you have more possessions, you should win more. You never know, because that's why we love sports. All this crazy stuff happens, but turnover battle, that should signify who wins this one. You're absolutely correct.
So, and it looks like Tulane just spit the bit and fumbled the ball again. So that'll be the end of them. They were on the move. They were driving to make it a one-score game, and their tailback, number 22, just fumbled the ball. And you should see the look on all these faces in Tulane green, because the fans know that's it. They're not making two stops on USC.
And sadly now it could get to the point where the scoreboard doesn't indicate how close this game was for 3+ quarters, which would be sad because Tulane really did put up a puncher's fight for most of the time so far.
Carried it like a loaf of bread. That wasn't even one of those, well, he was a good hit, the ball just came out. No, that was a loaf of bread right there that got smacked out of his arms. So there you go with that. And
the green wave is done.
It is over. It is over. All right. So looking at the playoff scenarios, first of all, we talked about this earlier, that the Saturday games have been set. It's Kansas City. It's Vegas. It's in Vegas. Kansas City needs a win. And they need some help tonight from Cincinnati. They need Cincinnati to beat Buffalo, and then Kansas City can be the number 1 overall seed.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo controls their destiny. Mm-hmm. They can win out and they are the 1 seed. Meaning, for folks who may not remember, this just started last year. The 1 seed gets the bye. That's the only one that gets the bye.
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati needs to win, and then they need Vegas to beat Kansas City, because they will not win in a 3-way tie.
Mm-hmm.
But with all that being said, everyone's like, well, what's the Sunday night game of the week? And what's this and what that? I was talking about it a little bit earlier. The way we sit right now, if Cincinnati loses tonight, your Sunday night game of the week, I'm almost 1,000% sure, is going to be the Ravens versus the Bengals for the AFC South.
Mm-hmm.
If they win, and that game means nothing realistically, it's going to be tricky what they pick. I'm still leaning that it's going to be Detroit versus Green Bay, because Green Bay would be in a win and you're in scenario. But Detroit would need help from the Rams upsetting Seattle for them to be in a win and in situation.
And to me, they fumbled it already. I don't know how you don't put. I know it might not be the most appealing the way the teams are playing, but Jaguars Titans winning in, to me, pretty simple. That should have been the Sunday night one. I know Saturday night they want viewers and whatnot, but both those teams fighting for the playoffs, they should have gave them each a week of rest, in my opinion. That's just me personally.
Well, I called this last week, and I knew it was going to be the Saturday game. I actually thought it was going to be the 4:30 kickoff.
Right.
They're not going to put Tennessee versus Jacksonville in that slot on Sunday Night Football if they can help it, because they're looking at the big picture, and the big picture is those two television markets cannot compete with the ones that I just mentioned across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati, Baltimore, maybe, but Cincinnati, Baltimore has that star power. They're hoping Lamar Jackson would play, and it'd be Lamar Jackson versus Joe Burrow.
Right.
Tennessee versus Jacksonville doesn't quite have that star power. Yeah, if you're a big NFL fan, it's Derrick Henry, it's Trevor Lawrence, let's go. But here is a quote from Vrabel today, press conference on his starting quarterback.
Josh isn't an overly excitable person. Ready for the opportunity. He's looking forward to it. The message to Malik is to continue to do what he's been doing, which is continue to study, continue to use the practice reps to his advantage, to help the game slow down for him. Get out there, that's the most important thing. I wish that we could go with more speed, during practice these last however many weeks of the season, which we will be able to this week, I feel like. But, the past 4 to 6 weeks, it's been a lot of jog throughs, some walk throughs, some short weeks, whatever it may be. So not only is that you're trying to get guys to the game, but then now those are some developmental reps that some other guys may not get. So this will be a big week for him to be able to have some of that speed.
So there you have it. That was Mike Vrabel talking about that he has decided that Dobbs will be the starting quarterback and not Malik Willis for the game in Jacksonville against the Jaguars, which we knew that going in, but he confirmed it. I was talking to a buddy who's a big Jaguar fan. He said he had heard a rumor that that was just a smoke screen and Malik Willis is getting there. If you watch Malik Willis play quarterback, Vrabel wants no part of him being the starting quarterback going into a game that's a win and you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they might have a package set up, and I would not be surprised by that. They have some packages, and you bring him in. It's basically a glorified wildcat with him, a true RPO on short yardage situations. But Dobbs played actually pretty admirably, if you really look at it, in short notice that he's been with Tennessee, and he gives them the best chance. They're still going to try to run the ball to win the game.
And I think you make a great point on that as well, McGee. We're seeing it more in the NFL. These teams kind of doing the 2 QB type new way wildcat. The Texans have been doing it with Davis Mills and Jeff Driscoll. Saints have been doing it with Dalton and Taysom Hill. Not that they've had over success, but it's been better than what they pumped out at the beginning of the year. I think Tennessee would be smart to at least sprinkle in some Willis packages at the very least.
For folks that missed the game, and why wouldn't you? It was a boring game, 27-13 Thursday night game that meant nothing. Joshua Dobbs was 20 of 39, which doesn't jump out as being great, but he did have 232 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And I guarantee if Malik Willis threw 39 passes, we're talking about 92 yards. So it's a big difference to have a guy that, and he gets another week of practice. I still believe Jacksonville is going to win this game, and I don't think it's going to be particularly close. But stranger things have happened, especially when you talk about the element of not so much surprise with Malik Willis and Dobbs, but it's an added wrinkle that you're going to have to prepare for. And then in a game like this, Jacksonville's been playing really well. That's the other reason why I'm on the Jacksonville train right now. But in a game like this, it can swing by the fact that Derrick Henry has owned the Jaguars.
Mm-hmm.
If he goes out and gets another big run, what we need to see over anything else is we need to see them stay committed to the run.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been the problem with Tennessee for the last several years with Henry. You'll see the run start working, and then all of a sudden they get cute, and they want to do play action, and they want to do flea flickers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's okay if you want to do that from play-to-play basis, but they just all of a sudden abandon the run, and the next thing you know, it's 3rd and long, and then they're punting.
And I think we might see about 30 touches out of Henry this game. I think they're going to give him as much as he could handle. And, the more touches in the box score he gets, the more chance of Tennessee to win. So that would be good for a Titans fan if Henry gets that many touches.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. I saw some Jaguar fans complaining about the fact that Tennessee has been off since Thursday and Jacksonville had to play on Sunday, and then they made them play on Saturday. First of all, that was going to be everyone's situation. Mm-hmm. Every team was going to have to play. Whoever played on Sunday was going to have to play on Saturday, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not quite a short week. It's not like it's a Sunday to Thursday turnaround. But the way I'll say to that is if Jacksonville comes out flat and a little tired and a little worn out, you can blame Doug Peterson because he had his starters in the game until late in the ball game into the 4th quarter, and there was no reason because the game meant nothing. It meant absolutely nothing. What in the world is he putting? Why is ETN still in the game? Why is Trevor Lawrence still in the game? I saw Josh Allen, their defensive end, in the game late in the ball game. Like, what are these guys doing?
I couldn't agree with you. And although it's kind of a unique way of doing it, this is what I would have done. Simple. 1 drive each. Open and drive the offense and defense in the first half and second half.
Bare minimum, I was thinking, okay, first quarter.
Right.
And then you let him play till halftime. I said, all right, well, that's cool. And then he comes out into the half. And right before that, you saw C.J. Beathard warming up on the sideline. I was like, okay, he's about to come out. And he didn't.
Mm-mm. You've seen the Chargers. They were, in a more needy game. Not that it meant a ton to them, but it still meant seeding to them. And Herbert was out of there with the whole 4th quarter to go. And it was like a 17-point game or something, so it wasn't that close. But still, they did the smart thing and took Herbert out right away when they had the chance.
Especially considering how injury-prone Travis Etienne has been. Travis Etienne had 12 touches. He shouldn't have had that many.
Right.
It should have been a Jermichael Hasty, Snoop Connor show. I think Evan Ingram shouldn't have been in as long as he was. Now, they used him sparingly in the snaps, but he was still in there pretty late in the ballgame. You talk about a guy who's been injury-prone his entire career.
Mm-hmm.
Zay Jones shouldn't have been in the ballgame late. This should have been the ultimate. Who is this? And I got to go find my. I got to find the program.
And honestly, as extreme as it sounds nowadays, kickers aren't a dime a dozen. They had a good kicker this year. I would even thought about resting my kicker for a must-win game next week. You're telling me if Riley Patterson went down, they'd be able to pull in a guy you could trust off the streets this late in the season? Probably not.
Exactly. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little more football, get you ready for the Rose Bowl. It's 420. Smoke them if you got them.
Whenever I bring home Entenmann's Little Bites muffins.
Little bites?
That's right, sweetie. Can you just give Mommy a minute?
I love little bites.
I know you do, but we're doing a commercial right now, okay?
Got it.
As I was saying, whenever I bring home you-know-what, you-know-who gets pretty excited. And so do I. Little Bites muffins are made with real ingredients, no high-fructose corn syrup, and are baked moist and delicious.
I love little bites.
Here you go.
Yes.
Entenmann's Little Bites Muffins. The perfect portion of happiness.
Hey, Braves fans, thank you for listening to Braves Country Baseball. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and we are here to bring you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves, bringing you spring training and 2 to 3 games a week all season long. Please like and subscribe today. Braves Country Baseball.
How to improve your dining room by the Home Depot. New wood floors, new paint on the walls. Sure, you know us for that. But how about a new dining room table, matching chairs, bar stools? How about free and flexible delivery with easy online returns? Now you can explore decor in a whole new way. Save now on furniture. Everything for your home. Everything from HomeDepot.com. How doers get more done. U.S. only, valid through September 7th. Limitations apply.
Your true friends are the people in your life that totally get your inside jokes, your unique style, most important, what you want to eat. Taco Bell knows that when you get together with your real friends, it doesn't matter what you're doing, but hey, it might as well be something that everybody can get into, like the Taco and Burrito Cravings Pack with 4 crunchy tacos and 4 beefy 5-layer burritos. So even if you're all sitting around doing absolutely nothing, you know you'll still have a good time. It's Taco Bell's Taco and Burrito Cravings Pack. Get it for the friends that get it.
You're listening to Braves Country. Weekdays, 3 to 5 p.m., 99.1 FM, The Key. Let's play these bowl games in August. Let's get them in there. Let's get these matchups. Let's decide, especially now. I'll deal with it one more year. But now that we've got the playoffs expanding, we don't need all this nonsense. Let's get it going. Let's get the bowl games in August. It'll be a good barometer of, well, do you take this team or that team at the end of the year?
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. But, you know, we have seen some teams like a Florida State and a Bama, those two were able to pull their bands together and pretty much I know Florida State got everybody. Bama had everyone but 1 or 2, but some of the other teams mightily struggle with stuff like that.
Yeah, FSU had a couple of opt-outs, but yeah, they all in all. But it's a crapshoot when you invite these teams. You don't know who's going to go.
So they got the full 18-week schedule out officially, McGee.
Okay, give me 1 second. Just to put a pin in that. You don't know. And you won't know. And this time next year, Florida State will have a lot of opt-outs unless they're in the playoffs.
Right.
This time next year, there's a lot of teams that look good in these bowl games now. LSU will have a lot of opt-outs. So I'm just saying it's not fair to anyone who's being asked. If you looked at the ticket prices on these games, that these fans are still going out there and buying because they're just clueless and have no idea that they're watching their, basically a clown show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's pathetic. Someone is, wow. Purdue's got a guy on the field and they're pulling out the stretcher. We'll try to get an update on that.
Prayers up there.
That is unbelievable. Okay, I see. And I was right. Lions-Packers, Sunday Night Football.
You were right on that. So winning in, at least it definitely means something for Green Bay. Now, as McGee alluded to, it might mean something for Detroit, but nonetheless, it will mean something for 2 teams either way, Seattle and Green Bay or Detroit and Green Bay.
I think you know what they should have done, and they've got more than one network they could have done this on. They should have put Rams Seahawks on another network at the same time.
Wow, that would have been a power play. That would have been a power play because then, then all the teams have a chance playing at the same time.
Because it's NBC, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what would have been perfect for them to do? Say NBC. we're gonna let you have the second game, and you can put it on Peacock.
Yeah, that would have been great for, transforming to streaming too. Peacock's been getting some MLB games as well. Real quick side note for Falcons fans and or Bucks fans listening, they are on for Sunday at 1:00.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's watching that one.
Well, Falcons fans maybe, probably holding out hope for Ritter. Maybe not holding out hope for Ritter.
That's they're all opting out. The only one who might play is Tom Brady, and that's just because he's a psychopath. I think he has to play in every game.
I love it, brother.
I saw his clip where he was talking about how he's always played, and I'm like, yeah, and everyone's always screamed at the TV, "What are you doing, Belichick?" Right? Like, what are you doing?
Correct. Yeah.
Like, femur bone, and then what are you gonna do? And I'll tell you whatever's going there at Purdue, that does not look good. That kid is being lifted into they got the paramedics out there. They have him strapped to the stretcher, and they're going to carry him off the field. And the play is stopped. The fans have stopped. They are all there trying to see if I can see him move any extremities. I haven't seen it yet. Guys are coming up, touching him, which I don't know if that's the smartest thing. If it's serious enough to be able to put him in the, on the stretcher, I don't know if you should be touching him at all. But hopefully everything's okay. If we get a chance, we'll try to see that.
And you hate to see that in any game, but especially these bowl games and college games. It's always tough and always hard to see. Prayers up, and we'll try.
What's everyone going to say? This is why they opt out, right?
And this is why we keep you guys posted on stuff like this, and we'll keep you guys posted as he heads off into the locker room on a stretcher on a cart as we speak. Not what Purdue wants to see on and off the field in this one.
I just rewound it to kind of see what's going on here. Anyways, we'll try to get to the bottom of it as it unfolds. But they will start play. It happened with about 6:40 left in the game, and there was some kind of an injury. And anyways, we'll try to get back to it because I don't want to sit here and talk about something I don't know what's going on and then give you the wrong information. So as soon as we know something,
I'm on it right now.
So the NFL week, that's strange. If they could do it now, why didn't they do it this morning? I was under the impression that in fact, they said that they were going to wait until tonight.
Yeah, I don't get why they did it at such a weird time, right? What did they do? They must have released it at 4:00 Eastern time. That's just a little weird to me. The only game in limbo is that Bengals game next week. It could be noon or it could be 3:25, it could be 1 or it could be 4:25, depending on what happens.
Yeah, if the Bengals lose, it'll be 4:25. It'll be the CBS game. If the Bengals win, no one's going to give a crap, and it's going to be 1:00.
Correct.
So I think that might have been the kid. I'm seeing the replay right now. Number 4, and his jersey's upside down, so I can't see. But he went diving for a ball backwards and landed on his head, on his back. And I think this may just be more concussion. I was fearful that it was something like, a helmet-to-helmet type hit. But he was going for a ball that was thrown over his outreached hands and slammed his head on the turf. And then he was bent over.
And the player's name is Deion Burks.
It is Burks. Okay, see, I thought it said Burks, but the jersey was upside down, and I was like, you're just thinking of Traylon Burks, so, stop it. He was moving his arms, but they just had his head in place, and I think it was more precautionary. Let's hope so. But yeah, Burks. By the way, Tulane has just made it a little interesting. Now they are down 9 points. I would think that they're going to kick the extra point, and then they would be down a touchdown and a 2-point conversion with 4 minutes left. They just had a long run and then set up for an inside, 4-yard touchdown. Southern Cal is going to be, and by the way, it was the running back Spears who fumbled the ball earlier. The Southern Cal, this is a big extra point coming up, and he does bang it through. It's a big extra point for more than one reason. I'm getting 8.5. I checked it during one of the breaks. So technically right now I'm squeezing my way through, but Tulane still has an outside chance. I think they have one timeout left. There's 4:07 and I guess you could onside kick it and they probably will, but you've got enough time to where you could kick that ball off, get a stop, and get much better field position if you don't onside it.
Yeah, I think so as well. And, Tulane, between onside and earlier and costing him field position, going for 2 earlier, they've done a couple questionable things. So we'll see what happens to this point.
What I would try to do as opposed to the old-fashioned onside is the old pooch kick over everyone's head and just have a scrum down there going for the ball.
Yeah, correct. And, one little Monday Night Football thing, Cole Beasley will be active tonight for Buffalo, whatever he has left of the tank.
That's the equivalent of that Josh Norman activation.
2 plays. What was it? 2 snaps.
He was out there, roasting coffee beans on Wednesday. On Sunday, he was getting roasted in the end zone. I can't wait till we find out what the matchups will be. But the fact that they've got the entire slate out, like you said, the only game now, where's the Buffalo game? Is the Buffalo game being played early or yeah. Okay. So regardless, Buffalo looks like everything is a 1:00 kickoff except Chargers Broncos, which doesn't really mean anything, but it's in Denver, so they had to put it there. Eagles Giants is 4:25, and that obviously will mean something because Moses parting the sea. Minnesota is going to play in the first round of the playoffs, right?
Correct.
If San Francisco beats Arizona, that game's in San Fran, by the way, and they're going to have David Blower someone out there playing quarterback. San Francisco, if they win, and at the same time, that game is being played, the Giants and Eagles are playing, right? If the Eagles play the Giants and lose, then out of nowhere, and oh, by the way, we've got ourselves a game because USC just gave up a safety. It's a 6-point game. There's 3:20 left, and obviously Tulane's going to get the ball back because of the safety.
Oh, wow. Here comes the green wave is forming again.
I got sidetracked with all the talk about what's going on, but I believe, let me see what happened here. I believe what happened is what I said. It was they kicked it down deep, pooched it, and the Trojans. Let me see what actually happened here. But anyways, back to the NFL real quick. As I'm waiting for the thing to load. If the Niners win and the Eagles lose, the 49ers are your number 1 seed in the NFC.
And my thing more on the Vikings is, do you think this is irrelevant? I know they could flip-flop with the Niners seeding as well. That's why I thought maybe, to the 2 seed if the Eagles take care of business. I think the 2 seed's still up for grabs. That's why I was maybe thinking
my word. So this is what happened. They did kick it deep it wasn't a pooch kick like I was thinking. They kicked it deep, and the return man of USC bobbled it at the 1-yard line. It goes out of bounds, which is what put them at the 1. And then the very next play, Tulane caught them behind in the end zone, and we now got a 6-point game. Tulane's getting the ball.
Wow, that's crazy. That's why we love sports. You never know. Was it a knuckle kick, or how did it look?
No, it looked like a fairly playable kickoff. It was down to the 1-yard line, and the return man bobbled it out of the 1-yard line. And you should have seen the entire fan base of USC in the crowd. They're like, "Oh my God, what just happened?" And so the very next play, where they were in a shotgun formation, and they tried to run the ball on a shotgun formation up the middle, and they stopped him. Then I guess it was the next play that they got the safety. Because we were talking number 4, whoever number 4 of Southern Cal, he's got egg on his face right now. Unfortunately, Southern Cal doesn't have names on the back of their jerseys.
Not that it matters, but as the game expires, Purdue's about to score a consolation touchdown, and LSU gets a 100-yard pick six.
Man, they ought to be ashamed.
62-7.
That's, oh my word, that's what they did again. They ran into the pistol formation, and they handed it to the up back, and the nose tackle of Tulane broke through the line and tackled the tailback, I'd say 3 yards deep in the end zone. It wasn't even one of those, we got to review to see if he got out of the end zone.
Why would you do pistol when you're backed up like that?
You're at the one thing that can lose you the game is what just happened.
It's like all you do, even if you punt, just fall forward with Caleb Williams 3 times.
This is unbelievable.
Is Lincoln Riley trying to lose this game?
I'll tell you what, they're getting big chunks of yards on the ground. Tulane still has a timeout. There's about 2.5 minutes left. We'll keep you updated on what's going on there. But basically, if you're an NFL fan, but your team is out of it like the Falcons, or your team is in it and nothing can change like the Bucks, and sleep in Sunday because the early games are nothing.
Mm-hmm. That's the one time slot that literally matters the least all NFL season. Week 18, 1 o'clock kickoffs, or used to be week 17, now week 18.
The only games of interest in the early windows are Jets, Dolphins, Steelers, Browns, and Bills, Patriots. Because those 3 teams are still in it for the AFC crown. Now, if Jacksonville loses to Tennessee, Jacksonville can still win if those 3 teams lose.
Yeah,
they can still get into the playoffs. But essentially, if Jacksonville beats Tennessee like I think they will, was it the Patriots, they control their destiny, and then it's the Dolphins, and the Steelers need so much help, it's not even funny.
Yeah, so I think I like the Patriots odds at this point, but hey, technically Jacksonville does have a path. If they lose, it's a small one, but they do have a path to a wild card.
Well, here's the thing. If you're a Patriots fan, you're either pulling for Buffalo to win this weekend or tonight, and then hopefully Kansas City can lose, so that game means nothing. Or you're pulling for Buffalo's to lose tonight, right, and they can't get the bye, and they'll put their backups in.
Right.
But if Buffalo needs that win, the worst thing that could happen to the Patriots is that the Bills win tonight, the Chiefs win on Sunday, and the Bills got to win that game on Sunday, which means the Patriots, I think the Patriots will lose the game. They've been getting decimated by the Bills last few times they've played. So then it turns to the Jets and the Dolphins. And who the heck's going to play quarterback there?
Yeah, well, whoever it is for the Dolphins at this point, they were on to Skylar Thompson. It's not going to look good. They had a perfect backup plan in Teddy Bridgewater, but when your backup's injury prone, is it really a perfect plan when your starter is as well? So a good quarterback room all of a sudden turned scary for Miami.
Trying to figure out why Mike White was trending. I don't know if it's just people complaining about him. It was right before I came on the air, so I didn't get a chance to see it. So or if they're going to sit him because Mike White, he did not look right. I'll just put it that way. So they might have to sit him because they're out of the playoffs now. And if he's hurt, there's no point of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to go back to Zach Wilson? Or are they going to put freaking Fluco out there? Either way, you got to like your chances if you're Miami at home, if Tua can play. Now, that's a big question. Now, if Mike White is healthy and he wants to play, and we get Mike White versus a healthy Tua, that could be a fun shootout.
And just minutes ago, Tua is officially out this Sunday. It's between Teddy Bridgewater and Skylar Thompson, according to Mike McDaniel. This is 2 minutes ago.
Bridgewater's not going to play. He got his finger all jacked up. He's done.
I agree, but it sounds like knowing Mike McDaniel, it sounds like he might do a 2 QB thing where maybe Bridgewater's in just to hand off the ball or something. He says right now Bridgewater or Thompson are in the plans.
He's cat and mouse, and it's going to be Skylar.
I think so as well.
So, and I'd say a lot of that has to do with the fact that they don't control their own destiny. But there's a good chance New England loses that game to Buffalo because Buffalo is going to need the win one way or the other. And if that happens, now if Buffalo loses tonight, I think they're pretty much set in where they'll be. They'll have 2 or 3 seed, and you're not going to worry about that, right? If you're a 2 or 3 seed and you can't be the 1 seed, you don't care. You're going to say, Josh Allen and company, get healthy, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
But if Buffalo wins tonight, and they can still be the 1 seed, that game means the world to Buffalo on Sunday, which means I think New England gets pounded. And that means Miami, you're due up, and you got Skylar Thompson. I don't care who's playing quarterback for the Jets. They got a chance to beat them. And then all of a sudden, your Pittsburgh Steelers are in the playoffs.
Just like last year all over again when they had it back in.
Yeah, but in this time, oh, wow, Tulane just completed a 4th and 10 with like 30 seconds left. They're driving. I know you got to run. You give me a prediction on the Rose Bowl.
Ooh, I'm going with a fun game for fans to watch. Give me 30 to 28 Penn State, let's go with. And slight victory as Sean Clifford finally leaves the Nittany Lions. Well, we think finally leaves Penn State one last time.
I'm looking forward to this game. I do think Utah has a good chance of winning. I'm not going to make a prediction because I don't like doing that against y'all. But this is going to be a really good game. I've been looking forward to it. Of all the non-playoff games in college football, this is easily in my top 3. It was this one, the Orange Bowl, all that. Tulane is down inside the 5-yard line with 17 seconds left, and both guys are down.
Oh, wow.
The defensive player that hit the receiver for Tulane, the clock has been stopped, but that's not even important at this point. The receiver number 2, I'm trying to see his name. Oh, it's a helmet to helmet. First of all, you got to give a targeting. Watts, the receiver, and the number 27 for Southern Cal. And I do apologize, but they don't wear names on their jerseys at Southern Cal. And neither one of them are moving. And they're out there on the field now. Hopefully it's just a bell rung, but my God, the last few minutes. What is your walk-off, sir?
Interesting fact. It sounds like Seattle T-Mobile Park will be the first venue ever to host an MLB All-Star game and an NHL Winter Classic within a 6-month span. Really enjoy sports, enjoy football. We're losing grip on it here. We only got about a little over a month left, ladies and gentlemen. So lock on your couch.
What now?
What happened?
I don't know. You tell me. It was your walk-off. Seattle's been announced for what?
They've been announced for MLB All-Star Game and NHL Winter Classic for next year. The first city in
by all means, let's give it to Seattle, not give it back to Atlanta where it rightfully is owed.
I agree with that. Isn't that just goes to show you,
Yes.
Atlanta should have never got stripped of that.
No,
Never.
Rob Manfred was absolutely snowed by that entire debacle. It was nothing but politics. They got the city of Atlanta dragged into it from both sides. It was just ridiculous.
But then let's give
the number, but it costs the economy of Atlanta just millions upon millions of dollars that they'll never recover.
But then let's give one to Seattle right away. It's like, come on.
Let's put it in Portland.
Yeah.
All right, brother. We're going to stay here because we only got a few minutes left, and I've got to find out what's going on with this. There's a booth-initiated targeting for the kid from Southern Cal. I think it's going to be approved. I think Tulane's going to get the ball somewhere on the 5-yard line with like 17 seconds left, and I think they still have a timeout, but I'm not sure. I know you got to run, man. Good luck. And remind me not to watch the Seattle All-Star games.
Yeah, I won't be watching either probably, but good luck, brother, the rest of the way. The last couple minutes, enjoy the show. I'll talk to you on Friday, and enjoy the Rose Bowl tonight.
All right, brother. We're going to stay here with you. It's 45-39 is your score, and USC leads. There's 17 seconds left. I think Tulane is out of timeouts, so I don't know if they burned one or there's no way they charged them one there because that's a targeting. I mean, that's as letter to the law as you get. It was helmet to helmet. If it's at least unnecessary roughness. So it'll be 1st and goal. We'll get that caught up here to you. And obviously the Rose Bowl is coming up at the top of the hour. It usually starts around 15 after, somewhere in that neighborhood. But with no timeouts, Tulane just threw an out pass and the guy dropped it. But it's probably the best thing that could have happened because what are you doing throwing an out pass? He was going to be tackled right there at the 5. You would have had nowhere to go. What's Tulane doing? These have to be shots to the end zone. And if they're not shots to the end zone, no penalty was called. Wow. That is a debacle. So Raven 87 says if Bill wins tonight and Kansas City lost on Saturday, Pat game won't matter. Yeah, but there's not much of a chance of that Kansas City game of Kansas. Well, I won't say that. Kansas City's heavily favored in the game. I'll just put it that way. The ball, Tulane, by the way, just dropped the ball in the end zone. He's saying he thinks he got a touchdown. There may be a review coming for this. The kid, it looks like the tight end is I don't know. I don't think there's going to be enough to overturn that. He's claiming he's got the touchdown and he's celebrating. And so you've got the Tulane side that's like, we scored. And then you've got Riley and the USC saying, what are you nuts? The ball came out. If you watch it, I think the ball probably smacked the turf. So it looks like it's going to be 3rd and goal. Ball definitely moved around. And unless the ball never touched the turf, which I don't believe is true, you're going to have 3rd and goal. Basically, they still got 2 more plays, assuming that they don't get caught. There's still 8 seconds left, so there's plenty of room to make the play. We'll see what happens here, but this is a heck of an ending. That's for sure. Michael's saying that he doesn't think it ever touched the ground. I'm very far away from this, so I'm going to have to try to put it on a different monitor because I can see what y'all are saying that you believe it was touched. I mean, that it didn't touch the ground, but I'm going to have to actually put it on a closer monitor because the monitor I have is way outside of our studio. We'll see what happens here. They are going to a booth review. So while we wait on that, back to the plays. We've got, or the week 18, excuse me. I'm so used to 17 being the final week. Week 18, these are the official kickoffs. It's the Bucks and Falcons at 1. Game means nothing. Falcons are a 3-point favorite. They are calling that a touchdown. So an extra point pending. Tulane is an extra point pending from a W in the Cotton Bowl. Now, there are 9 seconds left. They put a second back on the clock. There are 9 seconds left. Southern Cal has 2 timeouts. So we'll see what happens here. But back to the NFL, Bucks Falcons 1 o'clock. It's in Atlanta. So if you want to go watch the game, that's, you can probably get some cheap tickets. Go to StubHub or whatever, and you probably get some cheap tickets. Tulane hit the extra point. It is a 46-45 game. They were down 45-30 with about 5 minutes left, and I thought it was over. And somehow they stopped USC on the previous possession and forced a field goal, which was huge. They had not stopped them at all after a fumble. And now they are 9 seconds away from an improbable win in the Cotton Bowl. And man, is that going to be an enormous win? And if I'm remembering this correctly, I believe that I took USC to lose in the Cotton Bowl. I can't find it. I'm trying to scroll and talk at the same time, and sometimes it's not as easy as said and done. Plus, I'll be honest with you, the website that they came up with to do this is not done very, very well. I don't know who generated it, but it is like trying to walk and chew gum and rub your head and stomach at the same time. But anyways, 8 seconds left. USC just got the kickoff and they downed it. So it looks like there's going to be 7 seconds unless they may put some time back on the clock. But that is going to be what a comeback this will be for Tulane, as long as they don't mess up these last few seconds. Unbelievable. Tulane, yeah, I did take Tulane to win. 46-45. Tulane leads the Cotton Bowl, 7 seconds left. And I know this may not be a big deal to a lot of folks out there listening or watching, but you think about a team like Tulane, who's rarely at the top of the college football world, to upset number 10 Southern Cal, who played most of their players. There's not 2 seconds left in the game. Southern Cal had just thrown an incomplete pass. So they have 2 seconds left in the field to go to try to get a touchdown. But this is a really big W for Tulane. And Tulane's always had a little special place in my heart because I grew up watching Tulane play when they were independents. And I went to a couple of games of Tulane football in Tulane's football stadium in the Superdome. And after a bunch of scrums and pitchbacks and laterals, it's over. Tulane wins 46-45. Wow! And if you've never caught it on VSiN, I'm drawing a blank now. Sean King, I think he'll be on tonight. You'll probably be able to get YouTube and Twitter clicks to be able to see it. He's going to be celebrating because remember, Sean King played for the Buccaneers and the NFL and a couple other teams, but he was a Tulane Green Wave. He's been talking about this game all month long. So happy for the Tulane fan base. Happy for Sean King and all the Tulane alumni. This Tulane wins it, and it's not that I'm not shocked that they won. I'm shocked that they won after down by as much as they were down. They were down 15. And they scored that touchdown with just over 4 minutes left. So we'll say down 15 with 5 minutes left, and they score a touchdown. Get the ball back after a safety, and then score another touchdown with just seconds left. Some kids on the Southern Cal side, you know, this is the human part of it. You see them dejected and depressed after losing a game like that. But I'll tell you what, this is the best bowl season that I remember in a long, long time. Because a lot of these bowls have just been mailing in. Nobody cares. Didn't watch most of them. This year, they have been fun. They have been fun. There has been, I mean, you think about some of these bowl games that have gone down. My God. This is, it's always recent reaction that we always end up with. But when you look at these bowl games that we have gone through over the last few weeks, first of all, the college football semifinals have been phenomenal. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. But you look at some of these other games as I'm scrolling through the scores and just remembering some of the better ones. Now, we got some duds at the beginning, but what about that BYU SMU New Mexico Bowl, 24-23? The Boise State North Texas Frisco Bowl was back there at the beginning. That was a good one. The Toledo Liberty Bowl, I watched most of that. That was it's a sloppy game, but it was a fun game at the end. The Wake Forest Missouri game was pretty good, but the Middle Tennessee State San Diego State game on Christmas Eve, wow, was that a ball game. And then they've just gotten progressively better. Buffalo Georgia Southern was a shootout. Arkansas, Kansas, that's one of the best college football games I've seen in a long time. Oregon, UNC, that was a great one. Florida State, Oklahoma last week was incredible. Washington, Texas was pretty good. NC State, Maryland was better than I expected. Pittsburgh, UCLA, look out. That was a game. Tax Slayer Bowl, Notre Dame, South Carolina, that was a great one. Tennessee pounded Clemson, but this has been a bowl season. It's been a bowl season to remember. We got to run. We'll see you tomorrow, 3 to 5 here on The Key and Braves Country HD, wherever you stream. Have a great one. Tulane over Southern Cal. Farrell Coast to Coast is next.
Goodbye, sweetheart, well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart, goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks on 99.1 FM WQEE, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country. Braves Country comes your way weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Please follow, like, and subscribe today. Armchair Quarterback Radio, your first choice for Southern sports.
Something of the 5th of September. Something of the 5th of September. She said a lot that I can't remember. Something of the 5th. Can I get another cigarette, please? Can I get another cigarette, please? Yeah, I know I live to regret it. Just give me another cigarette, please.
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes 1 free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
Hey, sports fans. The Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball along with everything important to sports fans in Braves country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League, and the big sports news of the day. That's Braves country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE The Key, 99.1 FM, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country.